The Rebel Capitalist Show.
I wanted to get your opinion, because I know you've done so much research, on how gold typically performs in times of inflation or deflation in terms of its purchasing power.
Well, ironically, it appears that gold does well during any period of time when faith in the monetary system is attacked. It's more conventionally thought of course, as a mechanism for defending oneself from inflation. But it's worth noting that over 1,000 years at least, gold has been unique in that it's a medium of exchange that is also a store of value. It isn't a promise to pay, but rather payment in itself. And in some cultures over time, when the crisis of confidence occurred as a consequence of deflation, where that deflation was accompanied by illiquidity and a lack of confidence in specie or fiat currency, gold has done well too. The only real analog we have to that in recent history, of course, was the Great Depression, where gold did well as a consequence of being repriced by fiat. The suspicion is that had gold not been made illegal by Roosevelt, that the market for gold would have done very well, because trust in the financial system and trust in the US dollar at that point in time was very weak. But in fact, we didn't have the opportunity to test it because gold was repriced higher by fiat.
Right. So that brings me to one of my next questions, which is, throughout your experience, what do you see as the main driver in gold price, either up or down?
In my lifetime, it would appear that the most important determinant of the gold price is the broader market's faith or lack of faith in fiat currencies. The most important fiat currency in the world during my lifetime has been the US dollar, the de facto reserve currency of the world, by which all other financial pieces of paper have been measured during my entire career in financial services. When confidence is high in the US dollar and the US 10-year Treasury, gold, which is primarily, in my experience, an insurance asset, is weak. Conversely, when faith in the US dollar fades, the gold price has done very well. What's interesting about the period that we're in right now, or at least what interests me, is that we have had for 18 months a strong US dollar and strong gold prices. The only time before in my career that I remember seeing this was in 2001 until mid-2002. My suspicion is that many investors worldwide regard the US dollar strength not so much as a function of a very robust US economy or faith in this administration or an administration to come, but rather the comparative strength of the US dollar relative to other fiat currencies. I also find it interesting that confidence in the dollar and other fiat currencies, confidence in the system, remains strong enough that central banks and central government controls have been able to keep interest rates artificially low, in some senses in negative terms. And my suspicion further is that the fact that both gold and the US dollar are strong simultaneously, which is a rare event, is a function really of the extraordinarily low interest rates available on savings instruments worldwide, but especially the US 10-year Treasury. If you think about the US 10-year Treasury, as of the time of this interview, I think it's yielding about 1.85, 1.87. The Congressional Budget Office suggests that the underlying inflation rate of the United States, which is a different way of saying the official rate at which the dollar is depreciating, is about 1.6%. So the value proposition offered up by the US 10-year Treasury is that the US government will pay you 15 basis points. My friend Jim Grant famously calls this return-free risk.
Right.
So what's happening from my point of view is that gold is competing with return-free risk, a fight that over time I suspect it can win.